Hey everyone, and welcome to Just In My Opinion. Today, I'm looking at SolSeraph. I saw trailers for this game a few weeks ago and thought, wow, this looks like a modern ActRaiser. Even the name of the game seems inspired by it. 9-letter title made up of 2 words stuck together with matching capitalization. I probably just blew your mind. So, I was excited. I played ActRaiser when I was young, before I could really appreciate what I was trying to do. I remember loving the action segments and hating the city building elements. Why? Because I was like 10 and couldn't comprehend what I was actually trying to do. Later on, I came to like the game more, and I generally agree that it deserves a place as one of the coolest SNES games. What does all of that mean, though? Well, SolSeraph was going to be my opportunity to fully understand and experience ActRaiser again while looking at it from a different perspective. The only real difference is that SolSeraph throws out the city building in favor of a tower defense. Beyond that, it's pretty identical. In theory. Here's the thing, SolSeraph sucks. Not everything about SolSeraph sucks. There are definitely some redeeming qualities. However, where ActRaiser succeeded in blending 2 genres that have nothing in common, SolSeraph drops the ball. I think ActRaiser succeeded largely because each aspect of the game was well executed and well implemented, and while the 2 sections didn't blend together that much, you could sit down, enjoy yourself, and feel like you were part of a well-oiled experience regardless of which section of the game you were in. SolSeraph's platforming is actually alright. It's not good, but it's fun. The actual action platforming aspect of the game did it right. The combat was simple enough you could acquire magic as you progressed and build up an arsenal of abilities and upgrades that aid you in your progress. Off the bat, you can basically slash at enemies, block with your shield, and shoot arrows that are tied to your mana pool. Turns out, you can also dash backwards to dodge things. But during my first playthrough, I somehow skipped the tutorial trigger explaining this, and went through the entire game not realizing I could backdash without pulling my shield out first. So basically, I played through the game without dodging. Unfortunately, this wasn't a problem. While the platforming and level-based action sequences were generally good, the bosses in this game were a major letdown. With one exception really, every boss in this game was beaten by walking up to it, slashing a few times, and then blocking with my shield. This was repeated until the boss eventually died. Most of the time, I didn't even take damage. This was a huge disappointment. The challenge in the game really came from executing on platforming more than anything else. Combat felt like it wasn't important. They give you all of these spells and abilities, but when everything is so incredibly easy to kill, I didn't feel a need to whip out spells at any point in the game. Also, something else I learned as I played through the action sections, you generally don't need to kill things either. I could clear almost any level by just running and jumping and ignoring every other thing going on around me. I do need to mention something quickly though. Some of the levels do seem to have secret upgrades stashed away in them. Not all levels are entirely linear either. Some levels seem to have multiple paths that lead to different fights. I wanted to explore this a little more, but I discovered that once I made it to the end of the game, I couldn't actually backtrack to discover items and upgrades I may have missed. So if I wanted to explore paths I may not have taken, I would have had to restart the entire game to get that chance. Why? Let's assume someone makes it to the final boss and discovers that it's actually difficult for them. Well, they're completely screwed because they can't go back and secure more upgrades. Anyways, that's the good. Yup, that's the good. Let's talk about the tower defense portion of the game, because this is where you'll be spending almost all of your time. First off, I love tower defense games. I just want to say that. Basically, the tower defense section has you visiting various settlements and building protection to defend against swarms of enemies. So you have to build houses, farms, and other things to basically source villagers as resources for your buildings. From there, you can create some super basic towers that are all armed by the villagers, so to operate buildings, you'll always need villagers. After that, you defend the settlement long enough to build up 15 souls. You use these souls to build other kinds of buildings that also need a villager which you can build beside dark clouds. Doing this opens an action sequence where you essentially close off those gates, though enemies will continue to spawn through the closed gates. Yeah, anyways, after you've closed off all the gates, you can access the final action section for that area, which ends with you fighting one of the incredibly disappointing bosses I mentioned earlier. What's the big problem? It's just incredibly tedious. There's no sense of impending doom. You basically build up a simple defense and then wait until you kill enough enemies to move forward. There's no real way to speed this process up, and if for some reason your defense starts to fail, you also have powers that let you zap enemies with lightning or create a super overpowered image of yourself, which basically just murders everything anyways. It feels like this section was just poorly balanced and unexplainably tedious. Which sucks, because you're forced to spend more time doing this than anything else. Anyways, that's SolSeraph. There's a lot more I could say, but I honestly don't want to waste any more time on this. I want to go play something else, something I can actually enjoy and be happy talking about. Wait, there is one positive thing. It only took me 4 hours to beat this game, roughly, so I didn't throw away too much of my life. Okay, but seriously, this game had potential. It's possible that it could be rebalanced and improved in the future. I don't think it will, but it's possible. There are some solid bones here in the platforming section, and rebalancing the tower defense section could make it a lot less tedious. I'm not going to hold out any hope, I just feel like I need to throw that in there. Go play ActRaiser, or ActRaiser 2, or, literally anything else. Maybe Superman for the N64, at least it's funny. And don't forget, this is just in my opinion. If you feel like I left something out, disagree, or just want to suggest something else for me to review, leave a comment. I'm going to go play Eagle Island now, which I'll be covering in my next review. I'm not going to rush it because I've been looking forward to this game for a while, but feel free to subscribe and check back soon to find out what I think. Thanks for watching.